Can I give you something else to enthuse you?
Sure.
There is a campaigning organisation in Australia with 1 million members. I think it's 1 million members. Certainly 1 million people that follow it. Which Stephanie has been providing some help to, and Rohan, and I'm a media spokesman for some of what they talk about. It's called GetUp, and recently it launched a big campaign, and it's so influential that the government in Australia is scared by it. GetUp. They have talked about changing the law to try and reclassify it as an organisation to make it more difficult financially for it to continue operating. The Business Council of Australia, which is the sort of rich pressure group, are trying to raise funds at the moment, a multiple of the amount of funding GetUp has, in order to fight GetUp's campaigns. And the first plank in GetUp's new campaign, it's called Future to Fight For, is a job guarantee. And then there's lots of other things that we would approve of in dealing with homelessness and all sorts of other issues. And then at the bottom, it's how to pay for it. It basically explains modern monetary theory.
Wow, that's amazing. Yes, I've actually, I believe you turned me on to GetUp first. And then I heard through Rohan about how this was going on. And then I remember when, before we went live, when I had Bill Mitchell and Stephanie on with me offline, they were talking about, GetUp as well. So, it's obviously doing some tremendous stuff down there. Hopefully Real Progressives can take a page out of their book and do that.
You're probably more influential in some ways. But the great thing about GetUp is that the people who follow them are disproportionately younger.
Wow.
It's Rohan's work has been great with them. Edward Miller is their head of campaigns, who, like yourself, is a great presenter online in videos. Stephanie is coming over later in the year to Australia as part of this campaign. I hope we see her on mainstream TV over here, not on podcasts, but on the sort of thing that millions of people watch. And I hope people get to hear what she's talking about.
I definitely want to find a way to reach out to them, talk to them, like maybe off camera, and just get a feel for what they're doing, some of the ideas they're having, because I really want to be able to incorporate some of this. We have various things. I mean, you've heard my speech about what Real Progressives is before. It's a bold vision. It is. It's a huge vision. And on the back end of this, it's like, it's all I can do to keep us from jumping out there and just doing things, because just doing things sometimes it bleeds energy away from focused campaigns, being able to do real sustainable, drives to really have, piece by piece laying it down so that people have a clear, unequivocal notion of where you're trying to get to. And then there's an actual fallout if you don't do this. Unfortunately, most of what you see in the United States is kind of like pop music. It's a 2-minute song. As long as it can get radio play, it's happy for a minute. And then after maybe 12 weeks to stand on the top, whatever, it's gone and you never hear about it. And then 20 years later, you watch some video about where are they now? I want to be sustained. I don't want to, be pop culture. I would rather build slow and really, really make it substantive. And it seems like the stuff that they're doing is creating enough pressure that people are paying attention and people are listening. We need to have.
In a sense, you're in the lead in the US. I think the US is going to have a job guarantee first.
Very good.
And I think we'll copy you. That's what usually happens. Australia usually copies what the US does a while later. And I think as far as a job guarantee is concerned, it's also another great thing about it is that when you have a successful job guarantee in place, people are going to be interested in whose idea it was. They're going to be interested in Stephanie Kelton. They're going to be interested in Pavlina Tcherneva. They're going to be interested in Scott Fulwiler. They're going to be interested in Fadel Kaboub. They're going to look behind those guys as well, and they'll be interested in people like Warren Mosler and Bill Mitchell and Randall Wray. And it's a great opportunity progressively over time to change the discourse. It's not going to happen overnight. And I think when these things happen, and maybe I'm naive, but I have confidence that they will happen. I think you will have a small part in the history of the US, Steve, you personally, because I think the real progressive side has linked up so many people, and it's been so encouraging for academics like Stephanie Kelton and the others who sometimes would have felt themselves ploughing a lonely furrow in the past. You're doing a great job, and all the volunteers that work with you are doing a great job, just as the guys are in GetUp over here and in other countries too. There are some wonderful activists in the UK, and I happen to know because they're the UK and because I'm English, and in the rest of the world as well. And this is going to be a global movement, but it is taking time. I remember, was it Randall Ray said that when Warren Mosley first came up with MMT, he thought he'd just, maybe because it's right, that he'd just go and talk to these economists about it and they'd listen. They're scientists after all. They'd want to know if you're explaining that they've sort of got the monetary system wrong, and that there's much greater freedom for governments to act and responsibilities that governments ought to take than they are at the moment. And he just came up against that wall of silence, didn't get anywhere. And for a long time, there were just a handful of modern monetary theories, such a small handful that you and I know them all.
Yeah.
And it's turned into what it is now already. And maybe it's unstoppable.